Have you ever wondered why some men are drawn to a woman while others are scared of her? I'm not just talking about looks, dresses, or words. I mean this invisible energy, something that either captivates or intimidates. And you know what's amazing? That energy is already inside you, but maybe you just don't know how to awaken it yet. Carl Jung said that a woman who's embraced her shadow becomes irresistible. Today, you're going to learn how to become that kind of woman. But first, let me ask you something. Which part of yourself do you hide the most? Because that's exactly where your most magnetic power is hidden. Stay with me, because soon I'm going to reveal the strongest silent gesture a woman can make. One you've never been taught. Have you ever wondered why some women seem wrapped in an irresistible mystery? They're not necessarily the prettiest or the loudest. Yet, wherever they go, all eyes follow them. It's not bad luck. It's not chance. Is the art of mystery. You see, when you don't spill everything about yourself, when you leave some space empty, people feel the urge to fill it. And the more they want to get to know you, the closer they get. But watch out, mystery isn't about lying. It's about knowing what not to say right away. And that's one of the secrets you're learning today. While you're thinking about how many times you've shared too much, too fast, I want to take you somewhere else. Have you ever wondered what? Could your vulnerability actually be your greatest strength? Not the kind that begs or pleads for mercy. I'm talking about the kind that says, yeah, I've got scars, but I'm still moving forward. When you show your pain without letting it trap you, you become a woman who captivates. Not because she's looking to be saved, but because she's seeking connection. And right there, in that fragile yet strong place, true magnetism is born. Have you ever wondered why some women seem to hold even when there's no one around? They don't look for approval. They don't beg for attention. And yet, they still draw people in. Carl Jung called this shadow integration. A woman who accepts even the parts of herself society taught her to hide becomes whole. She's not a perfect woman. She's a real woman, and truth is way more magnetic than any mask. Maybe you've spent too long trying to be good, right? Acceptable. But today you realize that your strength lies exactly in what you once rejected. And while you start peeking into those dark corners, I want to take you even deeper. Have you ever noticed how powerful silence can be? Not the silence that punishes, not the kind that shuts down. I'm talking about the silence that leaves room for imagination, when you don't answer right away, when you don't have to explain everything. That silence says more than 1,000 words. And in that waiting, the other person begins to wonder, who are you really? And that's exactly when the silence grows. You start feeling the urge to get closer. Have you ever wondered why saying no sometimes makes you feel guilty? You were taught that saying yes means being kind, that agreeing means earning love. But Carl Jung reveals an uncomfortable truth. Saying no is the beginning of respect. When you set boundaries, you're not pushing people away. You're teaching them how to treat you. And you know what? Those who truly deserve you won't get upset about your boundaries. They respect them. They accept them. Because a woman who knows how to say no becomes someone you can't take advantage of. And that kind of strength is irresistible. But while you're thinking, yeah, I've said yes so many times just because I was afraid of losing someone, I want to ask you this. What does femininity mean to you? Maybe you've been stuck with a narrow, small, limited idea of it. That being feminine means being weak, submissive, quiet. But there's another kind of femininity, one that's aware, powerful and grounded. A woman who doesn't imitate, doesn't please, doesn't. She doesn't just follow others. She's a woman who makes her own choices. And today, you'll start to discover what this kind of femininity really looks like. Have you ever wondered why some women naturally lead without bossing anyone around? They don't raise their voice. They don't force themselves on others, yet people still want to follow them. Carl Jung would say they have an invisible power, a power that doesn't come from control, but from simply being present. You see, when you don't feel the need to control, when you let someone freely choose to be near you, you radiate something rare. Confidence. And that kind of confidence draws people in more than any loud shouting. Because a woman who's not chasing is a woman worth chasing. While you're busy thinking about how many times you've tried to convince someone, I want to take you somewhere else. Have you ever heard of invisible seduction? I'm not talking about makeup, clothes, or fake looks. I'm talking about that subtle energy people feel even before you say a word. It's calm. It's sure of itself. It's that feeling that you don't have to prove anything. It's like a scent you can't see, but that lingers in the air. And when you learn to grow that within yourself, you don't have to chase anyone anymore, because the one who's meant to find you will. Have you ever wondered why a woman who doesn't need anyone becomes so magnetic? It's not because she's cold or distant. It's because she doesn't cling. Carl Jung teaches us that emotional independence isn't about rejecting love. It's about refusing to beg for it. When a woman, she's full of herself, when her happiness doesn't depend on who stays or leaves, she becomes a quiet magnet. People don't choose her out of pity. They choose her out of admiration. And while you're busy thinking about how many times you've searched for someone to feel whole. I want to share another truth with you. Have you ever thought that patience is a form of strength? We live in a world that's always rushing, demanding instant answers. But the one who knows how to wait, watch, and pick the right moment has a kind of power that's invisible to others. Impatient eyes. Patience isn't about doing nothing. It's a quiet strategy. And often the ones who know how to wait end up getting what others can't even dream of. Have you ever thought about how much courage it takes to be completely real, to show yourself without filters, without adjusting or changing who you are just to be liked? Carl Jung teaches us that we put on masks to survive, but over time, those masks turn into cages. When you finally take them off and show who you really are, not everyone will accept you, but the people who stick around will do it not, because of the image you've built, but because of the real you. And while you're thinking about all the times you pretended to be someone else just to be loved, I want to ask you this. Have you ever watched those who can read other people's souls while staying completely unread themselves? Emotional intelligence isn't about manipulation. It's the ability to feel, understand, and perceive without laying all your cards on the table. A woman who can read others but doesn't reveal everything about herself creates an aura. Secrets. And this secret is an invisible bridge between your soul and their curiosity. You know what the deal is with women who don't cling to anyone, but everyone wants them around. It's not indifference. It's not coldness. It's the ability to let go. Carl Jung said we hold on because we're scared. But every time you let go of what's not yours, you make room for what truly belongs to you. A woman who knows how to let go isn't weak. She's free. And freedom is the most irresistible trait there is. It's real. And while you're busy thinking about how many times you held on too tight, I want to share another truth with you. There's a quiet strength born in those who have suffered but didn't break. Magnetic resilience isn't just about enduring. It's about turning pain into something visibly beautiful. A woman who's been through darkness but now walks in the light radiates something you just can't fake. It's not words. It's not gestures. It's that invisible aura that says, I made it. Isn't it amazing how sometimes silence speaks the loudest? Does silence really speak louder than 1,000 words? Not all silence is the same. There's silence that shuts things down, and silence that sparks curiosity. When a woman chooses not to explain herself right away, when she leaves things unsaid, she creates a gap that the other person feels compelled to fill. And it's in that gap that the desire to get closer is born. Silence becomes a mirror. The other person starts projecting their dreams, fears, and fantasies onto you while you remain untouched, watching, present. Now let me ask you, how many times have you felt the need to justify yourself, explain or defend your actions? Maybe that's exactly where you lost your power. Now imagine, what if your strength lies in not asking for permission? A woman who doesn't apologize for simply being, who doesn't seek others' approval to shine, becomes a magnet. Not because she's arrogant, but because she embodies a rare kind of freedom. And that freedom is priceless. Have you noticed how your posture can change the energy of a whole room? I'm not talking about looks. I'm talking about that quiet presence that starts with the body and shows up in the soul. Carl Jung reminded us that the body is the temple of the unconscious. Your straight back, your calm gaze, the way you take up space, all of it says something about you, even when you're silent. A woman who moves with awareness, who walks without rushing, who breathes like she has all the time in the world, radiates a confidence that others can feel deep down. And that confidence draws people in effortlessly. But I don't want to stop there. I want to lift you up to next level. You know which smile is the strongest, the one that doesn't reveal everything. A light, barely there, almost secret smile. The kind that leaves you with questions, not answers. Not to play games or manipulate, but because there's beauty in not showing your whole world right away. A woman who smiles like that becomes a story, not just an image. Not everyone notices it, but there's a quiet strength in women who nurture their spirituality. I'm not talking about religion. I mean that intimate kind. Connected to something bigger that makes her gaze deeper, her silence more meaningful, her gestures more significant. A woman who listens to her intuition, trusts her feelings, and follows the invisible signs along her path radiates a kind of magnetism that's hard to explain. It's not just charm. It's a presence that goes beyond the ordinary. And anyone who meets her feels they can't stay superficial around her. Now, let me ask you, have you ever met a woman? A woman who doesn't compete. In a world that pushes you to be better, prove more, there's a woman who chooses sisterhood. She doesn't see others as rivals. She doesn't measure her worth by comparing herself to anyone else. And that's exactly why she can't be replaced. A woman who supports, lifts up, and accepts. That's the kind of woman everyone wants around, because being with her makes you feel bigger, not smaller. Sometimes it's not what you say that matters most, but how you respond. Have you ever thought about that? Emotional elegance is one of the rarest qualities. It's when you don't get caught up in drama, when you don't let someone else's chaos drag you down, when you know which battles are worth fighting and which ones are better to just let go. Carl Jung would say, It's the strength of someone who's faced their shadow and isn't afraid of it anymore. A woman who doesn't blow up over little things, who doesn't fall for provocations, radiates a calm strength. And that kind of strength is way more attractive than any loud outburst. Now, take a moment. Picture a woman who listens more than she's quiet. Not because she has nothing to say, but because she knows. True strength is in the ability to listen. When you really listen, when you let someone open up, share, be themselves, you become a mirror. And the person who sees themselves in your reflection won't want to leave, because in a world full of noise, a woman who knows how to listen becomes a safe haven. Have you ever noticed that calm can be stronger than speed? We live in a world that rushes, shouts, demands. And yet, there's a rare kind of magic in stillness, in the one who stays calm, the woman who can't be rattled, who doesn't react on impulse, who moves with deliberate slowness. Carl Jung teaches us that calmness is a sign of someone at peace with themselves. And the world feels different, breathes differently, is more desirable when you're around a calm woman. Even chaos quiets down. And while we're thinking about that, I want to take you somewhere else. Isn't it ironic? The one who knows how to be alone is the one who attracts the most people. I'm not talking about loneliness. I'm talking about loneliness that's chosen, rich and full. A woman who's not afraid of her quiet moments, who doesn't feel the need to fill every empty space, becomes whole. And when you're whole, you don't just let anyone in to fill the space. You attract only those who deserve to be there. Isn't it amazing how the body can speak even without words? The way you move, cross your arms, tilt your head, play with your hair. Every little move tells an invisible story. Carl Jung teaches us that body language is a window into the unconscious. And when you learn to use it consciously, you can convey strength, openness, mystery without saying a word. A woman who knows her gestures, who walks gracefully, who confidently owns her space, becomes someone people notice even in silence. Now, let me ask you this. How often do you ask the right questions? In a world where everyone only talks about themselves, a woman who knows how to ask deep questions make her irresistible because they touch forgotten chords, spark deep thoughts, and open up inner worlds. Anyone who talks with her feels truly seen, heard, and understood like never before. Sometimes the greatest love is the kind that accepts without losing itself. It's not easy. We live in a world that teaches us to give. Give until we're empty. But a woman who knows how to receive without losing herself, who can love without forgetting who she is, that's rare. Carl Jung would say this is a woman who's learned to balance between someone else's needs and respecting herself. And anyone who meets a woman like that will know they've found a love that doesn't suffocate, but sets you free. Speaking of freedom, isn't it amazing when a woman breaks expectations? You expect one answer, and she surprises you. You expect one reaction, and she does something different. A woman who won't let herself be boxed into a role, who dares to change direction, who isn't afraid to disappoint those who already decided who she is. She has to be mesmerizing because every move she makes feels alive, every choice she makes is unpredictable, and anyone watching her can't help but wonder, what's she going to do next? That's where real magnetism comes from. And have you ever met a woman who's in no rush, who doesn't push or pressure, who just lets things happen in their own time? Carl Jung teaches us that what's meant for us will find its way to us. And a woman who knows how to wait, she trusts the process, knows how to be genuine without obsessing over the future, and radiates a calm that draws you in. Because when you're with her, time stops being the enemy and becomes an ally.